This is South Dakota Patriot Broadcasting, brought to you by the Scene Project Podcast Network. Welcome into South Dakota Patriot Broadcasting. I am your host, Bubba Startz, and with me today is first-term representative from District 9 here in South Dakota, Tesa Schwans. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so very much for having me on today. I really appreciate it, especially so close to Christmas. I hope everyone's getting ready for the holiday season and feeling festive.
Yes, indeed. We were just sharing off camera here that my wife and I just got back from Minneapolis and had a great, wonderful holiday trip before the snow starts flying. And it's nice to spend this time with our families, right? That's what this season is all about. Absolutely.
And the season is, definitely something that as a politician, it kind of brings out the best in people as well. And it kind of gives you an insight of what We the People movement is really all about. And that's about family and your faith.
Yeah. And it's so funny to kind of juxtapose that with maybe the worst of politicians in October and November.
Right.
Oh, well, Tessa, before we get too far into the interview, I want to give you an opportunity to just kind of introduce yourself to our listeners and to the world at large, and tell us a little bit about what you're all about.
Sure. My name is Tesa Schwans. I am born and raised in South Dakota. So I have the roots that go all the way back to my family, when they came here. They were farmers and ranchers. And so I was a daughter of a farmer and a rancher. My mother was a homemaker, and she raised 9 of us kids. So I'm the last of 9. The family farm that we grew up on, it was way up north in the northern part of South Dakota in a small town between McLaughlin and McIntosh, South Dakota. We had cattle, we had farmland. My dad was a custom combiner, and so he did all realms of agriculture. And so we grew up really working hard for what we wanted. My brother once said that we grew up with everything we needed, but nothing we wanted. And what that did is that instilled a drive in all of us to really push ourselves to do more and to be better and to push ourselves for the things that we want for ourselves and our family. So from there, my father and my mom, they decided to buy a home in Spearfish. So I actually graduated from Spearfish High School in 1988. And from there, after graduation, I went out to Boston for about a year, took a gap year. That's what they call it now. Back then, there really wasn't a gap year. I just was not ready for college. And so I just took a little time, and I was a nanny out in Boston for about a year, and then came back and I went to Black Hills State University. And from there, I decided I wanted to pursue my degree in doing hair. And so I went to Black Hills Beauty College out in Rapid City, and I graduated from beauty school. And I've really been doing hair since. And I've been doing a lot of different aspects of the industry, from being a educator. I was an educator for Matrix Essentials and Logix International, which was a division of L'Oreal Professional, and I worked for them for 18 years on a part-time base, and then I was still in the salon. So I've worked usually 2 jobs, mostly pretty much my whole life. So I'm not afraid to work, and I'm not afraid to get out there and do what it takes to do the right things. So I now live in Sioux Falls. And so I am with my husband. We've been together for 24 years. We have 3 kids. We're a blended family. So I have 1 and he has 2, and we're a blended family. And we just, really enjoy each other. We have 8 grandkids, 1 grandbaby on the way coming in February. And, we have a very busy little schedule. And so we try to do as much as we can with our grandkids and as much as we can with our children, and still keep the balance in our life as much as possible. So that's kind of my life a little bit in a nutshell. I decided to run for politics, knowing I'm not a politician. I am a regular person. I'm a citizen of South Dakota that just wants to do the right thing. And I think when you look at the state of our country, in the last couple of years, I think a lot of people, a lot of citizens have felt disenfranchised. They felt silenced. They felt as if their voice was being unheard. And what really compelled me was the ability to have a thumb on the pulse of the community and talking to my clients every day and listening to people and really hearing that they were feeling upset. They were sad and they really didn't know what to do. And so when the opportunity kind of presented itself to me, I was very hesitant at first because I'm like, what do I have to offer? I'm a hairdresser. I don't know if what I have to offer is going to be enough to be in politics. And with my faith kind of took me on the road to, do what was going to be guided and by the very faith and fundamentals of what it is that I grow up with. So I let God do the rest, So I always called it my Seabiscuit campaign because I kind of came from behind and did a lot of work and did a lot of grit in order to get myself through the primary in order to get into the general. So I feel very fortunate and I feel very blessed by the people from District 9 to have their faith put in me so that I can be a representative of their voice in legislation coming up in January.
Now, you say that you don't know anything about politics, but you've worked in health and beauty for 30 some years. I don't know if there's any profession that could better prepare you for dealing right. with people. Well, it's all politics. And that's what we kind of forget, I think, as citizens, is we think that it's, there's politicians and then there's regular people. Well, actually, the way it should be is that the people that are in politics should be regular people. And for your job, your career is in the community. You connect with people every single day of your life. You are connecting with multiple people, which probably explains why the voters came out and supported you the way that they did, because they knew you. They knew you. And obviously just in I asked you one question and you gave me your whole life story in 5 minutes, right? So you're comfortable sharing yourself, your experiences. That's what we want. That's what people want out of life. That's what people want, I think, out of their political, their political representatives now. And I think that even if you don't agree with everything that Trump is or that he stands for, the fact that he came out and was just real and wasn't trying to lie and BS you all the way through the election, I think that's what people gravitated for. And that's why you saw the massive swelling, in the popular vote and in everything, because people are just sick of the BS. Stop trying to lie to me. All the information is out there. We can learn everything. Like, you can't trick us anymore. And everything that you've tried to do hasn't worked. And now, $1 billion campaign and then some, right, couldn't sway the minds of everyday American citizens. And that's the first time in the history of the world that that's happened, right? These populist movements like we're swimming in right now. And that's the impetus for starting our South Dakota Patriot Broadcasting Network, is that the work isn't done. Just because this person or that person is elected, that's just the start. We're just in the beginning of this swelling that we want to, affect the whole system. And a lot of what we're doing, and we were talking, pre-production here, that it's connecting. And I think you do that extremely well, Tessa.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Yeah. I mean, I love to feel and talk to people. And I think the bigger part of that is actually listening to what it is that is on the hearts of our citizens, and sometimes that can be lost. And I think Trump kind of nails it. He listens to the people. He listens to what it is that we're needing, and he becomes the conduit and the voice for the people. and he gets to push those policies into action. And I think that's the real story about Trump, is that, you know, his connection with real everyday people is kind of endearing. And that's what makes people feel as if they are not lost, they are heard, and that they are important, and that what they bring to the table matters. Because at the end of the day, you know, when you look at this, our country, when you look at the state of South Dakota and you have the constitutions, you know, it is about we the people. We the people have the say, and we should not feel silenced, and we should not feel afraid to have that ability to come out and do what's right.
And I think that, you know, you being elected is a perfect encapsulation of that, right? You're not a politician. You're just a regular person, but you're a regular person who listened to these people, and you want to do what you can to help those people, right? You're not in this to help yourself. You're not in this to seek something else. You are a true public servant. And that's so important, Tessa. I really must thank you. I'm not in your district. We talked a little bit. I'm out here in Bonhomme County. But I'm very proud to know that, you know, Sioux Falls has representation like you up there that will be listening to the people and doing this from the ground up. You ran a grassroots campaign. You are just getting your feet wet. Legislative session starts in January, correct?
Yes. Yep. It starts January 14th is when we're sworn in. So,
so is there, pre that, is there a way for you to kind of learn it? Do they run you through a process of like, hey, this is what to expect for new legislators and things like that? Is there a little bit of education that happens from the government to kind of educate you on processes and things like that as you move into this new part of your life?
Yes. And that's what I have found so endearing and so helpful is the LRC, that's kind of set up through the Capitol. It's the Legislative Research Council. And they actually held a 3-day forum for us to go through some of those strategies and what it will look like, and kind of prepare us for January. So, you know, I'm sure there's a lot more to learn. I mean, there's a lot more to learn, but I'm open and I'm willing. And I think so are the other new legislators that are coming in. And there's 22 of us that are new coming in across the state. And that, if that was a voice of we the people coming out in full force, I mean, you couldn't have predicted that.
Well, so it's probably unheard of to have that many new legislators in just one session. And I know, my attorney back in Deadwood, he was a state representative for years, and he didn't even want to be necessarily. I mean, he appreciated being a public servant, but at some point he was just running unopposed. Like nobody was even challenging him. He's like, I don't want to just let the seat go, but also I kind of wish somebody else would step up to do this, right? And they fought very hard to, and he was a Republican candidate as well, but fought very hard to bring things back to center, right? He was always fighting for centrist things, and I think that's what's important to look forward now. You know, we don't have a problem with, our state's not California. It's never going to be California. You know, the liberal ideologies and those things they don't sit well with red-blooded South Dakotans, right? So
no, they don't.
While we don't face, necessarily a lot of those problems and the issues, there is some of the incumbent, Republicans that have been, running in the status quo, mostly our state representatives in Washington, D.C., that have really just been there for 30 years, kind of collecting a paycheck and hanging out. And to find the candidates that can run against them in primaries and kind of change the way that things are done, we kind of need people to come through the state legislature to do that. I don't think that you can just run with a fresh face, completely new to politics, and run into a Senate campaign, right? I don't think that's possible. So a big part of what I am kind of building here with the network and with what we're doing is to find someone who and others, you know, that want to be these candidates moving forward to revamp the South Dakota political system from the ground up. And I think we got a good start. 22 new legislators with new ideas and maybe a little bit more of a pulse on the community, like you said earlier. I think that's important.
Yes. It has been so heartwarming when you go to meet a lot of the current legislators and the new legislators to just kind of get a feeling of where everybody is at. And we all bring different gifts and talents to the table, you know, because we all come from different walks of life. You know, some are scientists, some are educators, some are, you know, have been in legislation and then they stepped out for a while and then they come back in. And so, you know, it's really a good mix of new freshmen coming in that I feel can bring new and fresh ideas from different perspectives. That in essence, you know, can lead us to better policies when it comes to bill making and, you know, having that core South Dakota value kind of coming through in different ways.
Well, and you touched on it perfectly there. Like, you have to have the different perspectives. My wife works at the school. She's a para. She's also a part of the teacher apprentice program through the state of South Dakota. So she's going to school to get a double major in education, which is that's a government program that is affecting those lives, you know, of our students, of our future, right? We need more teachers. How can we get people in the school that are already working there, that are interested in education and care about these kids? How do we move them up and into this? So completely paid for tuition by the state for my wife to go double major, special education and early elementary, to help that. Those are the programs that advance society, right?
Yep.
And I don't know if you get to that. I don't know if you get to that point with things like that if you don't have educators in the legislature, if you don't have, you know, other people and viewpoints represented rather than just politicians and business people.
Right. You know, and I think that kind of caps it too, because you need a little bit of all of it. You know, you can't just have it overwhelmingly, you know, people that are, you know, political science majors in there. I mean, you need a vast amount of different, you know, personalities and different viewpoints in order to get the best policies that will be put in place for we the people. So the committees that I'm on is I'm actually on the education committee and I'm on commerce and energy. So as a hairstylist, you know, the hairstylist industry, the cosmetology commission, that all falls under commerce. And so I'm thankful that I got onto the commerce and energy committee, you know, and I'm hopeful to kind of see some of the bills that will be presented in committee. So.
Well, Tessa, I don't want to take up too much of your time today. I'm sure you're very busy getting an education and getting ready for the legislative session coming up here in just less than a month now.
Yes.
I'm sure you have to be so excited. We are excited for you and for the legislature. I'm very happy to hear that we have 22 new members this year. If you want to toss our number to anybody else out there that would like to speak with us and kind of tell their story, we would absolutely love that as well. Is there anything else before I let you go that you want the members of your district, but also the state of South Dakota at large to kind of know about you and the platform that you're running on?
I would probably end it with, do not be afraid. Do not be afraid as a South Dakotan to get a hold of your legislators within your district and to have those conversations with them. For the most part, we're busy, but we want to hear from you. And we want to do the best job that we can for you, the people, and keep South Dakota in the place that it is right now, but keep South Dakota strong with its connections with we the people. So I would just leave it at that and, wish everybody a very happy, holiday season and a Merry Christmas. And let's make 2025 and moving forward the best that we possibly can do.
That is first term representative Tesa Schwans from District 9. Thank you so much for being with me.
You bet. Thank you so much. Have a great day.
Thank you for tuning in to South Dakota Patriot Broadcasting. You can get more content and news at sdpatriotbroadcasting.com. The following program is part of the Patriot Broadcasting Project, brought to you by the Scene Projects Podcast Network.